All right, we're recording, and we're going to bring this thing live to Facebook, hopefully. If not, we'll just record and rock and roll. Let's see, I've got a guest scheduled for today, and I'm going to get him into the room. It's Jimmy P, or as most people know him, James Pollard. There he is. All right, here we go. Promote to panelist. Mr. Pollard.
Okay, there we go. Now I see you.
There he is. There he is.
There we go. Cool.
All right, I'm going to
Look,
bring this.
this is nuts. Like, here, let me share my screen. Hold on. Let me share it real quick. Isn't this crazy that things like, which one can you see? The Google Drive?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is insane. People are really freaking out, and I'm glad you're doing this. This guy's like, I had one of the worst prospecting weeks ever. Like, world's falling apart. Like, I feel so honored to be in a place of like help for these people, and I'm glad that you're doing this. So I just wanted to say that in the beginning of our call.
Well, I like to hear that. I like
Yeah.
to hear that. And you just gave me the name for today's for today's call. Bring in the abundance.
Oh
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yeah. I'm here for them. I'm here for whoever's watching. Hopefully I can be a beacon of light, which is different from my normal self, I think. We'll see
Well, I think I would argue that let's get that screen share off and give me the controls back. I don't want to have to smack you around for my controls. But I would argue the opposite side of that. I would say that you're like a lighthouse for these people, for the people that listen to you, for the people that are getting your
sure.
emails, for all of those folks. All right. So for some reason, I'm still not. What do you see?
Your face. And I hit stop share screen. So
I
or
wonder
stop
where.
screen share.
I'm not getting the controls back for some reason, but I might have to roll with this as is.
It says that you made me a panelist at the beginning of the call.
Yes.
If that helps, I don't know.
I see. I see. So this went to full screen mode. I am going to back out of this, I think. Let's see. So here we go.
There you go.
Right. You see
I
my
see it.
screen now?
Yes.
Right.
I see me. My
It's
beautiful
him.
face.
It is him. It is him. So this is it, boys and girls. We are working today. Everything is working as it should be. It is a miracle. Thank you, God, for this one. I am going to go right here because I want to make a proper intro to the guest I have today because I am not flying solo. I am flying with a co-host, and we're flipping things around a little bit. Usually I'm just listening to him talk, but today I'm going to talk a little bit with him.
Where
Where's
did I
your
go?
show
There I
right
am.
here? There he is. There he is. This is Mr. James Pollard from the Financial Advisor Marketing Show. He and I are on weekly, and I think we come out every Monday. I'm just a wingman on that show, but this guy is dropping knowledge bombs by the megaton. by the megaton on that show. And sometimes I actually think, James, that you give too much away, but I think that's part of your charm. So what's up,
Yeah.
brother? Glad you're here.
Yeah. In my particular space, financial advisors, oh my God, bear market, 30% down, probably. I haven't checked the markets yet, but I'm going to take a wild guess to say they're not doing so well. Futures were down last night, but other than that, I mean, things are awesome. The office you see behind you, starting tomorrow, we're actually going to redo the whole thing. We're going to paint, just take this time to make the office better. I see a lot of people sharing theirs work from home. This is my desk, whatever. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're a professional, and your desk looks like, I don't understand.
Uh-oh. I better not show you my desk today because
Oh
I have
man.
some books and some open boxes over here. I was messing around before I got on the call. So, James, what are you doing right now? Like you were showing it, and I don't think it was recorded live. But what you get emails all the time. You get people reaching out to you all the time. What are you seeing on the financial advisor marketing front right now?
Complete and utter freak out like I've never seen before. Um, because a large part of my audience is relatively new, I would say less than 5 years. The survey that I did in 2019 found that the bulk of my audience is between 3 and 5 years of financial advisor experience. These people have never seen a bear market before, obviously, and no financial advisor has ever seen something that is this quick and this sharp in the markets. And I don't want to drone on about the markets, but yeah, they're pretty freaked out. And I mean, there are some that would say that, yeah, my clients are fine and they've done a good job preparing them and making sure that they're not freaking out, or if anything, they're putting more money into their investments. But as far as them building their business and growing and marketing, it's complete chaos. But I must admit that this could be a little bit of a survivorship bias, because the only people who would contact me are the ones who are freaking out. So I may be
Losing their
overstating that
minds.
problem.
But it's more I bet you're getting a higher volume of feedback right now than you usually do.
Yeah, way more. I told Brandon Neely and I had a call last week, and he asked me that question. I was like, you have no idea. Like, I told him last week, is it like people are just going nuts? And that was after Monday. So it was like, not last Friday, but the Friday before was the worst day in the market since 1987. And then Monday was the worst day in the market since 1987. And we had our call on Wednesday, and that's what I was dealing with. And yeah, but here's the thing. I enjoy the philosophy that, like, focus on what you control. I embrace that. Keep a positive mindset. But I think it's completely okay to just feel whatever emotion you're feeling. Like, it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to feel anxious. You just can't let that control you. As a human being, yeah, like, yes, you're going to feel scared if you have $1 million in your brokerage account. Yeah, and that, you're right, and that goes down to 600,000 or 700,000 or whatever. Yeah, of course. Like, no one expects you to be Iron Man or Superman. Like, feel the emotion. It's cool, but don't let it dictate everything that comes after that.
That is a great starting point, and let's start from right there. So I agree with you. None of us is immune to the emotion, but what we do with the emotion is entirely up to us. So how do you do that? How can you separate? Like, you're not. Are you? I mean, to me, you seem like a Terminator, but I'm pretty sure you're not. So how do you separate those two things?
So this may not be the answer that a lot of people want to hear, but it goes back to digging your well before you're thirsty. If you have a plan before all this, and you have a core set of business principles and business philosophies that you're going to follow no matter what, nothing really changes. Like, you're not going to stop marketing. You're not going to stop prospecting. You're not going to stop building your business. You may change your approach so your emails aren't tone deaf, or you're not pissing people off, or you're not just coming across as a jerk taking advantage of this opportunity or whatever. But you're not going to stop. And if you have your plan and you say, and this is a very big parallel to investing, because a lot of financial advisors will help their clients create an investment plan, and financial advisors have an investment philosophy where it says, if X happens, I'm going to do Y. If we have a bear market, 20% drop or more, I am going to invest this amount of money. I'm going to invest in these companies. I've got a target price. Like, if I'm watching Apple and I love Apple and I want to invest in individual stocks, whether that's right or wrong, and I see Apple's at a certain price point, if I've decided in advance and I'm going to buy Apple, then there's no emotion. There's no real, like, string attached. I'm going to buy. And that's kind of how people have to approach their lives and their businesses right now. And the best thing you can do is create a plan if you don't already have one. Just picture yourself as someone who is an objective observer, someone who, you're not yourself. You're a completely different third party watching your situation. What advice would you give if it was a friend of yours, or a family member that you haven't seen in a long time, who's going through the same exact things that you are? What would you say to that person? And try to be as objective as possible. But you can't completely take emotion out. But the more you do, the better it's going to be.
So what you reminded me of, and I want to put this out there, I learned this from my dad. I have two dads. I have Rachel's dad and my dad, and they're both my dads. What Rachel's dad taught me was plan your trade and trade your plan. And
Yes.
so what you just said right there is, if you have a plan ahead of time, it takes a lot of the emotion out of it, because you just go,
Right.
time to
Yep.
act.
Yep.
So I love
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other thing, and you talk about this on the show for you guys tuning in now. For anybody who hears this later, financial advisor marketing. Now, it is specifically we did this specifically for SEO purposes, financial advisor marketing. But I think anybody in financial services and even people in client businesses can get a lot of information from what James shared. So, guys, check it out, financial advisor marketing. So you talk about digging your well before you need it. Tell me more about that.
So that's actually a book that was written by Harvey Mackay or Mackey or Mackay. I don't know because he's before my time. But I read the book. It was awesome. It was basically about building your network before you need your network. If you got somebody that, if you have an emergency, you need to call someone at 2 a.m. You need to figure out who you can call at 2 a.m. And that approach has been working for the financial advisors who are seeing the most success right now. They've already embraced content marketing. They've already embraced email marketing. They've already embraced LinkedIn, social, whatever. And they're just cruising along. Yeah, things may slow down. We may have bumps in the roads, but like they have done the work before. The people who are struggling the most, at least in the financial advisor space, everything I say, that's my breadth of experience. They're the ones who are just now scrambling to put things together. Uh, and it breaks my heart because I've had conversations with advisors who would say, "Oh, well, I'm going to put this off or I'm going to procrastinate." And now it's biting them in the butt. And, sometimes they'll make me feel like the bad guy if I'm like, "No, you've got to do this now. You've got to take action now." And I come across as pushy sometimes or like an aggressive salesperson, but here we are. And if they had just done the stuff, they wouldn't be in this situation. But it's never too late, never too late to start. If things get worse, and I'm not really sure that they will, but even if they do, at least you have the plan starting today. And when things get better, you will go back to your plan and you can revise it, you can optimize it. I actually wrote in my Inner Circle newsletter, and I'm going to give away some good stuff here because this is paid content. And there are three things. There was a Harvard Business Review article that came out in 2010, and it found that 9% of companies flourished during the recession. And there were three things that these companies had in common that they did, and I'm trying to scroll down to get to it. Number one was they increased their operational efficiency. This means you got to focus on your productivity, make your business more efficient, make your life more efficient. Sometimes this means cutting expenses. Other times it doesn't. It depends on if the expenses make sense for you. Number two is developing new markets. That's the other thing that the top 9% of companies who flourished during the recession, that's what they did. For financial advisors, this means if you have a niche, try to parallel into another niche. Like if you're working with physicians, you can work with nurses. If you're working with teachers, try to work with professors. Like there's a parallel there. And then number three was enlarging your asset base. And this isn't as applicable to service professionals because in this sense, it meant the big companies were buying their competitors and buying real estate and buying other assets. But if you have any equipment in your life that you need or can make you more productive, now is the time to look at it. And if you can buy an asset that allows you to increase operational efficiency and allows you to develop a new market, holy cow, you're going to be unstoppable because you're knocking all three out with one asset purchase.
I love that, man. And actually, I'm excited. I'm going to ask you I think you're going to be on the call later on. So I want you to bring that to our call to the TPF insiders because
Sure. Yep.
that's exactly where my mind is right now. It's like everybody else is like scrambling. The world is on fire. Things are blowing up. And I'm like, oh my God, opportunity. I'm doubling down. Like I'm investing in some areas just like this. We're working on our efficiency now. So I'm glad you said that. We're tuning up the whole intake process. We are working on new markets with our copywriting professionals that we have on the team. So another parallel to the business that we already do. And the asset base, I also consider adding people to the team. If it's the right people, that's a new asset that we have. And we're actually working on all those right now. So I'm glad you said that. And I feel really good right now.
Be assured.
I do.
Well, there's a quote that said that firms with the will, the skill, and the till are the ones who make it happen during a recession. I mean, that's not the exact quote, but those are the three things. You got to want to do it. You got to have the skill, the knowledge, the ability. You got to have the till, the cash. If there's one thing that I think people shouldn't beat themselves up for, some people are beating themselves up for not having cash readily available to seize opportunities. That's okay. Like, you're not alone. Trust me. Because people who were because this is what makes it comforting, is that people who were sitting on cash could have been wrong. It could have just completely went, and it just happened that it went in their favor. Sure, there are signals, and there are, you've got certain indices and certain metrics that you can track to let you know when you should be on cash. But if you don't have cash to seize the opportunities, just take it as a warning that maybe next time you're going to do it. Fortunately, this situation is different in the sense where banks are a lot more forgiving now. Credit card companies are a lot more forgiving. Travel companies, not so much, because they just give you a credit and not your money back. I had to cancel a lot of travel, and I'm like, I got no money back from all that, which sucks. I just get credits and I'm not going to use in a year.
Right.
So I lost a lot of money in travel, but it is what it is. So that's what that's the other thing. I personally sat on a lot of cash, and I wrote about that in my Inner Circle newsletter several months ago. Like, I think it's September, October, something like that. And people were like, this makes sense. Let me do it. And it was only like 3 people. So I'm not making it seem like everyone jumped on it just because I said it. It was like 3 people. But I imagine those 3 people are having a pretty darn good time now. So, yeah.
Well, I think you're in a good position, because I'll give you a little insider information. I'm part of the Mark Evans DM families. It's a pretty high level mastermind, 35K a year for the people that are in there. So, they're ballers. And what he's telling us right now is, he's like, there is opportunity right now to buy businesses.
Oh,
These
yeah.
businesses have cash flow. So like you were saying, buying up your competitors, if you've got cash right now, you can buy cash at a discount. And that's what we're thinking too. I'm like, I don't know who's watching this, but I'm actually thinking about selling some real estate to have some cash ready to buy some businesses, because I think there's bigger leverage there right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more of an income investor, and I'm in that world where I just buy income producing assets, and that's not right or wrong. It's just my personal philosophy, and it's a decision I made a long time ago. So please refrain from emailing me about your 3x leveraged inverse ETFs. I don't need it. Trust me. I take enough risk elsewhere in business. And so I'm an income investor. So now this is like a buffet for me. I'm just picking up stuff, and I'm like, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. And I'm giving myself a raise because I know that cash flow is king. A friend of mine, I can't remember his exact quote, but it made a lot of sense to me. He was like, focusing on income is like being stuck in high school. Focusing on net worth is like being stuck in college. But focusing on cash flow is when you're in the real world. And I'm like, totally, without a doubt. I mean, I see that now. Because even if your income drops, if you have cash flow from other stuff, like, you're in a better position. Your net worth is going to get, if you're invested and you have certain assets now, your net worth can get decimated, but it wouldn't necessarily impact your overall lifestyle if you've got the cash flow. So the whole point is to build your well before you're thirsty. Now is just a great time to get started. I mean, it's always a great time to get started. Now it's just a better time.
Yeah, that's actually been our mindset in the last year or so. It moved way away from the net worth, because the net worth didn't have any value unless I'm going to borrow money or something. And even a lot of times it didn't even help there. But the cash flow, when you have 30, 50, 100,000 coming in every month, even if you take a small ding in that and you only have 50 or 80,000, you're still doing better than like everybody else. And it took me a long time to realize that. But now I'm like, why didn't I do this like 10 years ago?
Yeah. Well, in the financial advisor space, these advisors go after people who are more or less the millionaire next door. And that has its pros and it has its cons. But I had a family member who just socked away a bunch of money, hoping for appreciation and getting appreciation, but never touched it. I'm like, it's as if the money doesn't exist. I mean, money has no value until it's used. Now, technically, it could be used as a peace of mind tool, a little security. Maybe it's more psychological than financial and tangible. But he just never used it. It's just, he was investing for appreciation. And in certain situations, that makes sense. But he lived like a miser. He had a small house, small car, did nothing fun. He used both sides of the toilet paper, which you've got. No, that's not true. Which you've got to do now because of the crisis here. Yeah, he just that never made sense to me. So I was like, if I'm going to have investments, they're going to throw off cash, and I'm going to use the cash. And the cool thing about having investments that throw off cash is you can choose not to use the cash. Because if you increase your operational efficiency and you decrease your expenses, the cash flow is probably going to stay the same anyway. And if it does, you just have more cash to put back into the machine, which means you're giving yourself a raise and another raise and another raise and another raise. And it just grows and grows and grows. So now it's, like I said, it's like a buffet for me.
I bet you are having a good time, man. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk, because this is one of the things that you are prolific at, and this is why I said you're like a Terminator, is like you are a productivity machine. So with everything that's going on, actually, let me back up a second. Has your life changed at all, or is this like business as usual for you?
So I did have one day, and it was like 2 weeks ago, and it was at 2 or 3 weeks ago at the start of all this, where my personal business income, like the advisor coach, as one business. I'm involved in other things, shocker. But the advisor coach income went way down. And I was like, oh, Lordy, stuff's about to get real. But no, everything went back to normal. The stuff that has changed is my wife is very involved in school districts and helping kids in high school. That's completely stopped. They're not doing any of that stuff anymore. Events are getting canceled. I had travel that was booked for Chicago, for Vegas, for Florida. Florida did not get canceled. Vegas did. Chicago did. I haven't got my money back for the travel. I've gotten credits. That has changed. The other things that have changed, nothing, not much. If anything, I'm more focused because my wife's not doing anything, because she usually wakes up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and that wakes me up very slightly. I've gotten to the point where it doesn't bother me as much, but it does wake me up very slightly. So I'm a little bit more focused and a little bit more energized because I'm getting completely uninterrupted sleep now. That's what's changed for the positive.
Interesting.
And we're doing the office tomorrow. So that's going to change. This is going to look different.
It's going to be awesome. You still got the red lights in there?
I do have
Party
the red
central.
lights. And that's another thing. If this is, red lights are very expensive to get. These are smart bulbs, so they're not as expensive. But if you get an actual red light machine, there you go.
Sweet.
If you get an actual red light machine, it can be like $700 to $1,000, and it's amazing for healing and anti-inflammation, and just that will really turn you into a superhuman. But red lights, there are a variety of health benefits that go along with it.
Okay, so you've taken me in a direction. I was going to talk more about productivity, but I think what would be more interesting now, and I feel like we all have this possibility, and in fact, I've been taking advantage of it. Let's talk about some of your sleep hacks. Like, people are, I don't know if they're staying up all night watching Netflix or anything, but I feel like this is the time to get your sleep dialed in.
Yeah. Well, it may or may not be, because if it depends on how close to your regular routine this is, or how close to your regular lifestyle this is. This is a dramatic change for you. The data that you're going to get from your sleep isn't necessarily going to be accurate, because you have other variables that are going to change once things go back to normal.
Do they have to go back to normal? What is normal? Can't we make our normal?
Going back to work and people not working from home and posting pictures of their cats on their laptops and stuff. Yeah. What is that? Oh, I see an 86. Good for you. That's a ready. You're ready. I know readiness can be higher than sleep. So what's the real number?
My sleep number. Sleep number. Let's see. This is about the best I can do, and this is natural sleep now.
82, 72.
Oh, yeah, this is good for me. Like, that's a good number. Man. That's a good number. So I've got the what is that thing called? The chili pad, and that's just starting to get dialed in. I'm going to get an air filter like you recommended.
You need one. Yeah. I've got one right here. I don't know if you can see. No. Yeah, there you go. I got it right here, like literally right next to my desk. So when I talk about the stuff, every so often I'll get somebody who are like, do you really do all that stuff? Yes, dude. Like, oh yes. Not just making it up. That's the exact air filter I recommend in the article, theadvisorcoach.com/sleep. That's the exact one. I'm using it right now.
So listen to that, folks, real quick, because it's a great article. And that's actually why I brought this up was the advisorcoach.com/sleep. So I got the chili pad. We're working on getting the air filter in the room. And the other thing that I did, as soon as I heard that I didn't have to take my son to school, I was like, great, I'm not a prisoner anymore. I said, no more alarm clocks. Like my trip was canceled to Utah. And I said, I'm not using alarm clocks. And the first couple days, it was a little weird, but now I'm getting actually more efficient sleep. 10 to about 5:30, no alarm clock, and my sleep is purely efficient, like
Yeah,
really
that's what I'm seeing, the same exact thing. That's what I mentioned with my wife and stuff. Yeah, no opportunity clock. That's good. It'll wake you up
yeah.
and
Man,
get
man.
you going.
So the advisorcoach.com/sleep. What else, man? What else can we talk about? What are some other productivity tips? Obviously, the best thing, taking care of your sleep. Sleep hygiene is what you always call it. What other things are you doing? Because there's so much negativity out there. There's so much bad news out there. How are you keeping your head? How are you keeping your mental hygiene clean?
Uh, this is through habit. I've done this for a long time. Just reading. I have extension on my Chrome. I don't use Chrome. I use Brave, by the way, but it's called DF Tube. Uh, like David Franklin tube. I don't know. It's called distraction free. That's what it is. Distraction free for YouTube. And that you can set it up to where it blocks all your suggested videos. It blocks the home screen, because I have YouTube, because there are some friends of mine that where I talk with them live through YouTube, and we do different streams and different things. And I go on YouTube. I don't want to see the CNBC stuff. I don't want to see the market crashing. What people need to realize is that the media gets paid for eyeballs. I mean, I'm coming from the marketing world. I know that they're just ramping it up to get more viewers and sell more advertising while they can, because they know that viewership is going to dip before the election. So if they can keep more eyeballs on the product, that's better for them. And they're just ramping up the hype and ramping up the hysteria. And as far as mental hygiene, I haven't really done anything differently. I am reading a little bit more. I am actually taking the time to reread some stuff. About a month ago, I did my interview with Tom Ziglar, son of Zig Ziglar, and I went on a bit of a Zig Ziglar binge and listened to a lot of his stuff. I've read Think and Grow Rich again for like the 97th time. It's an amazing book, my favorite book of all time.
Really?
I don't really interact. Like, I don't go out of my cave. I mean, I spoke at a conference like March 10th. It was for Delaware financial advisors. I spoke at that conference, and that was it.
Right before the stuff hit the fan. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
why I said, that's why I asked you, and I prefaced all this. Like, how has your life really changed? Because you already have built this fortress around you. You call it digging the well, but you've also built a fortress around your mind so that you can't be hit with all this stuff coming from outside. You get to choose, and I think that's really what it is. Choose what you're going to fill your mind with. Choose what you're going to fill your day with.
I think one of the things that this is going to, it may sound weird to some people, when they go from a structured work routine to working from home, and you've got kids, and maybe you've got a spouse, and you've got other things going on, they tend to change their diet. And it's typically not for the better. Typically on day one, people be like, day one of quarantine, I'm going to be my best self and live my best life
Yeah.
and have a smoothie that day. But then after that, they're eating lasagna in the shower, or they're putting ice cream on top of their pasta. That's, that's what happens. And not speaking from personal experience, but yeah, if you can get your diet, just clean it up at least a little bit. I mean, spinach, kale, because the stuff in the grocery stores that's gone are the non-perishables. There's an opportunity to get the perishables, get the
Yeah.
spinach and get the mixed berries. I have a smoothie. I don't know if I put it online yet or not, because I've got it in a queue. I have almond milk, flaxseed, MCT oil, turmeric, and spinach, kale, mixed berries, and whey protein. And I put that together, and that is just like, it takes me to the next level, because most people will get up and just eat a bagel, like
Ooh.
carb loaded, or they'll have a banana, tons of carbs. Your mind cannot work as efficiently if you're spending your physical resources on digestion. So if you're getting your nutrients through something like a smoothie, you're keeping your diet clean, you're going to feel a lot better. And there have been studies done where poor diet, it increases anxiety, increases depression, increases all the negative stuff that comes with a time like this. So if you aren't cleaning up your diet, you're probably going to have exacerbated effects. Again, I'm not a doctor, not a physician whatsoever, but I have spent a lot of money on this and a lot of time on this. But yeah, if you're freaking out and your diet sucks, your diet's probably making it worse. And if once you clean up your diet, you'll feel better.
Boom. Listen to that, gang. So we went from finances, digging your well before you need it, multiple. I don't know if we talked about multiple. We did kind of talk about multiple streams of income, and that seems to be very popular among the people that are still sane today because we're not tied to one source of income. So we're not going to die tomorrow. We talked about getting better sleep and sleep hygiene just a little bit, and that's theadvisorcoach.com/sleep. We talked about eating better and making better choices. And all of this is for you guys out there listening. The point of the Daily Bread Project is to bring you the light, bring you positivity, bring you ways to be more productive, and sleeping better, eating better, all of that. Making different sources of income. So making money better. All of that is going to help you be productive. It's going to help you be positive. And in times like this, it's going to help shield you from all the crap because you are insulated. So James, brother, we are on 30 minutes. I want you to just know that I really, really appreciate you. I know that you don't usually do these things. So thank you so much for being here, brother.
You are welcome. I'm glad to do it.
We'll talk soon. I know I'll be seeing you in just a little bit. Peace, everybody.